How you talk to yourself really has an impact on your growth. Let's talk about self talk. What's going on, y'all? My name is Elliot. I'm a mindset coach. I talk candidly about my journey, as well as share tips to encourage growth and healing and uplift anyone who may struggle with feeling seen. So, self talk, arguably not the most complex topic, but is something that I feel like we often easily overlook. So, put simply, self talk is your internal dialogue and how you talk to yourself. I do want to add one caveat because some people talk to themselves externally. I sometimes talk to myself externally. That's cool too. The point or what's important here is that self talk is just the relationship you have with yourself through dialogue. So, how you talk yourself through situations, how you talk to yourself as you're kind of processing things, just what all of that looks like. And it can be a very conscious thing where you're actively thinking about the words and like really kind of present in that process, or it can be and is often more likely a subconscious process where you're not necessarily actively saying these things to yourself, but when a situation happens or as you navigate through life, underneath it all, your core beliefs about yourself that you've cemented through years of experience, traumas, exposure to this or that, whatever the case may be, those things actually creep through your system. And that in and of itself becomes your self talk, whether or not you're fully conscious of the things you're saying to yourself or the ways you feel about yourself in certain moments. And the thing with self talk is it really has a big impact on your self esteem, your sense of self worth, your overall wellness, and not just your mental and emotional wellness, but all of that is interlinked and it all trickles and flows into other areas of your life because self talk has such a big impact on your mindset. Again, your core beliefs are what kind of prop up your self talk. So if you're constantly having negative feelings or sentiments or hold negative beliefs about yourself, you're going to constantly say negative things to yourself, especially in moments of disappointment or challenging moments. And it can become a very self reinforcing relationship between your core beliefs and your self talk, which then manifest in your mindset and what you actually choose to do, how you navigate your life. And all of this is a really big window into your triggers and experiences that may still impact you, or just how past experiences may even still be impacting you. So, as always, I want to humanize this a bit about sharing. I want to humanize this by sharing a bit about what my experience in this area has looked like on my journey. So self-talk is something that, like so many people, I have really struggled with, really struggled with at points. I really used to struggle to catch negative self-talk. Again, I said this can be self-conscious, subconscious, and it often is more of a subconscious process. So I would really struggle to actually catch myself in moments when I may have felt disappointment or things maybe didn't go my way. I'd struggle to catch myself in the negative things I would say to myself. And then that would reinforce kind of the shame or the guilt or the embarrassment I would feel, because then I would be essentially putting myself down, right? Whether or not somebody outside of me was actually putting me down, I would do that for them. And I would internalize these things and have a very negative self-talk or self-talk dynamic internally, and just kind of beat myself up about things. And to actually use an example of what this has looked like, and I've made mention to this specific example in some other videos, I really used to struggle with a sugar dependency. And that's truthfully an ongoing relationship. Some days I'm in the lead, some days sugar got me in a little bit, but overall it's a lot healthier of a relationship. But nevertheless, as I got to this point, there would be countless times when I would really be challenging myself to let go of the sugar dependency, or just do choose to do something different and maybe not meet that goal, or kind of lean on sugar and feel so disappointed within myself, so ashamed of that choice, to the point where I would then catch myself telling myself, I knew you couldn't do this. I know you can't break this habit. And essentially telling myself I wasn't good enough or strong enough to actually change this thing about myself that I didn't like, which I don't actually hold to be truth, especially not at this point in my life. But in saying those things to myself, it would reinforce the struggles that I was having with even changing that dependency and really keep me in a pocket of shame. And I had to learn to unlink and kind of undo that. And again, it's an ongoing journey. So it's not like I just got to a destination and I'm like, oh, that's great. It still takes intentional work to not fall into that when something may trigger a sugar craving as a coping mechanism or whatever the case may be. And that is something that I do every day. So with that said, I want to share some tips that have helped me on my journey in hopes they will help you. First, I think it's really important to actively get in the practice of actively paying attention to what you say to yourself and when. This helps you identify your triggers. If you're in a situation that you find disappointment in, or maybe you set a goal and you didn't meet it, and you start to really listen to that inner dialogue and you're hearing these negative things, you're putting yourself down or you're kind of berating yourself. Whoa, there's something there to kind of examine and potentially parse through, which may be more deeply rooted in past experiences of other people, and just maybe things that people have placed on you or whatever the case may be. But it's important to start to pay attention to what that dialogue actually sounds like. I think it's also really important to examine your core beliefs underneath it all. What do you really hold to be true about yourself? Really get into all of that and start to parse through that and ask yourself, like, well, who am I? Who do I believe myself to be? How do I really feel about this person? How do I feel about myself? How do you feel about yourself? It's really important to ask yourself those hard questions and be okay with the range of responses, because you're probably not going to like everything about yourself. I don't really think that's possible, but you can do that with compassion. You can hold yourself with self compassion, even in light of things that you don't like about yourself. Which brings me to my next point. I think it's really important to practice compassionate self talk. Again, as you identify things about yourself or your life that you maybe just aren't the biggest fan of, as opposed to putting yourself down and saying, oh, I'm stupid, I'm this, I'm that, all of these negative things that keep you in a pocket of shame and embarrassment and just otherwise negative sentiments and beliefs about yourself. I think it's really important to kind of flip that script and affirmatively talk to yourself and compassionately talk to yourself and challenge those negative narratives that, again, may have been cemented through years of exposure to traumatic events, years of being in negative experience environments, just years and years of things that didn't make you feel good about yourself. It's important to really challenge those narratives through compassionate self talk and making that an active practice. So at some point, it can just kind of become a subconscious practice. So I hope those tips do help you on your journey. And as always, I want to leave you with one reflective question. And today's question is, what is the kindest thing you can find to say to yourself in this moment? Think about it.